This tale unfolds like a haunting aria. She, the celebrated opera prima donna with the voice of the century, Maria Callas. He, the billionaire tycoon, Aristotle Onassis. Their romance stretched across nearly 2 decades, a period marked more by her anguish and disillusionment than by joy and bliss. Maria's doomed affection for the wealthiest and most powerful man of her era exacted a toll on her career, thrusting her into obscurity and plunging her into profound despair. Watch the entire video. Remember to subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. Let's dive in. Maria Callas, born in 1923 in New York to Greek immigrant parents, began her musical training during her early years. Maria's journey to success didn't take place in America but in Greece, where she arrived in 1937 with her mother and sister. Maria's illustrious and successful career took flight in 1947 when she mesmerized audiences with her portrayal of Joan of Arc in Verona. From then on, Callas graced stages worldwide, earning increasing acclaim and fame. With her tireless work ethic, talent, and relentless ambition, she swiftly ascended to become the leading lady of La Scala in Milan and the Metropolitan Opera in New York. Known for her strong-willed nature, Callas commanded theaters like a revered opera queen, handpicking only the finest partners while dismissing the weak or lesser-known performers. "I refuse to be associated with mediocrity," she would often declare. Yet, despite her outward confidence, Callas harbored a craving for praise, even if it was insincere. She yearned to be lauded as the best, the most beautiful, and the most unique. Moreover, the prima donna nursed a profound fear of returning to poverty once more. The responsibility of managing Maria Callas's professional endeavors primarily fell upon the shoulders of one individual, Giovanni Battista Meneghini. A knowledgeable aficionado of opera and a prosperous Italian businessman, he assumed the role of the renowned singer's impresario and, in 1949, her husband. Giovanni Battista, of shorter stature and significantly older than Maria, was regarded by the opera singer as a father figure whom she loved dearly. Throughout their years together, he consistently treated Maria with affection and protected her from idle distractions, ensuring she remained focused on her career. During the latter half of the 1950s, Maria's star began to dim gradually, yet the singer continued to be consumed by thoughts of her arias, living, sleeping, eating, moving, and breathing music. That is, until she encountered Onassis. Their initial meeting unfolded at a gathering held in her honor. Onassis approached Callas, tenderly kissed her hand, and spoke in Greek. "Lady, you remind me of a Greek goddess. You are exactly as I imagined. It's an immense honor for me to meet you. I hope we will cross paths again." From that moment on, wherever Callas ventured, Aristotle would inevitably appear by her side. He lavished the singer with compliments and grand bouquets of roses. Flowers arrived incessantly at the residences where she lodged, at the eateries where she dined, and in the dressing rooms prior to her evening performances. However, Aristotle Onassis found himself bound. In 1946, he wed the daughter of his primary rival. Athena Livanos was just 17 at the time of their nuptials. A year later, his cherished son, Alexander, was born. Following shortly was their daughter, Christina, whom Aristotle didn't particularly desire. He believed he already had a son and successor and saw no need for another child. Consumed by his business affairs, Aristotle devoted scant time to his family. He and his wife had an implicit agreement that each would pursue their own lives. Then, into the world of the accomplished and affluent Aristotle stepped the magnificent opera singer, Maria Callas. During the summer of 1959, Onassis extended an invitation to Maria Callas and her husband for a cruise aboard his yacht, Christina, in the Mediterranean Sea. Initially, Maria considered declining due to work obligations, but eventually relented. However, Giovanni adamantly refused to accompany them. On board Onassis's $3 million floating palace, the most renowned American, British, and Greek celebrities reveled in leisure. Throughout the cruise, Maria had the opportunity to meet Winston Churchill and his wife. The Christina epitomized luxury, and for Maria, the 3 weeks spent traversing the Mediterranean felt like heavenly adventures. Most significantly, Maria found herself enchanted by Onassis. Throughout the journey, they behaved as if oblivious to their familial ties. Their interactions unfolded before Onassis's official wife. For the first time in her life, Maria experienced boundless happiness. Aristotle treated her with nobility and adoration, fulfilling her lifelong dreams. Maria Callas's husband was taken aback. Despite his love for her and willingness to forgive her vacation fling, Maria was unwilling to entertain the notion. For the first time, she found herself genuinely in love and cherished. Her opera career became a distant memory. Onassis's wife, Athena, was equally incensed. While she could overlook many things, public humiliation was not one of them. The affair ultimately led to divorce, after which Aristotle Onassis's wealth reportedly saw a decline. Meanwhile, the infatuated Callas appeared to have entirely disregarded her own opera career, significant achievements, global acclaim, and magnificent stage performances. She showed no interest in new contracts and offers from prestigious theaters and opera houses. However, as life would soon reveal, this would be her fatal mistake. She placed her trust in a man who relished playing, spending lavishly, and indulging in life's pleasures. Maria and Aristotle awaited their divorce while shuttling between Monaco and Athens. When journalists inquired about her romance with Onassis, the singer responded, "Yes, I fell in love like an 18-year-old, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. There are rumors circulating that I loved Onassis for his billions." What nonsense! I earn enough money to buy myself a yacht like Christina. Why did I love him? Because he was the first man to treat me like a woman, not like a money-making machine. Unfortunately, Maria's happiness was short-lived. The renowned singer had placed high hopes on marriage, only to be met with disappointment. Onassis was reluctant to marry Maria. Despite continuing to lavish the actress with precious gifts, it became increasingly clear that the billionaire's once passionate love was diminishing month by month. Maria held on to the hope that everything would eventually fall into place, envisioning a grand wedding with her beloved. However, reality took a different turn. Onassis transitioned from an ardent lover to a conceited scoundrel. More frequently, Maria found herself alone in the vast and empty mansions of her billionaire beau. While Onassis devoted considerable time to his children, attempting to win back their affection and involvement in their upbringing, he also began seeing other women attracting the attention of the press. Maria waited for weeks, but her beloved not only failed to call but also ignored her attempts to reach out. After prolonged periods of silence, he would send yet another bouquet of flowers accompanied by a charming necklace, reaffirming his affection, and visit for a few days. Maria's anger swiftly turned into joy, with each reunion feeling like a new honeymoon. As a gesture of his love, Aristotle once pledged to purchase a castle in France where they would reside together. Maria was ecstatic. However, the castle ended up being acquired by someone else, and the billionaire didn't even recall his promise. People around were astonished by the singer's blindness and almost fanatical love. It seemed that only Maria couldn't perceive the coldness and indifference of the billionaire. The actress harbored a deep desire to have a child. However, when pregnancy finally occurred, Onassis acted cruelly and heartlessly. He didn't react well to the news and swiftly departed. Maria Callas couldn't bring herself to terminate the pregnancy. Their only son, Homer, was born prematurely and passed away just 2 hours later. Maria laid him to rest alone in a cemetery in Milan, visiting his grave for the remainder of her life. Due to the stress, the once great singer nearly lost her voice. In 1965, in Paris, she failed to complete her aria. Little remained of her former virtuosity. Since then, Callas no longer graced the stage, only offering solo concerts. Her career came to an end. Following the loss of her child, Maria confronted mounting dilemmas. She couldn't continue living with Onassis, yet she couldn't fathom life without him. At 43, with no home, family, husband, or children of her own, Onassis purchased an apartment for her in Paris to boost her spirits. In 1968, Maria discovered that Aristotle was intending to marry Jacqueline Kennedy, the widow of the U.S. president. It was typical of him. He always professed a desire for everything: woman, money, happiness. So why not marry the most famous widow in the world? It's difficult to even comprehend the blow it was for her. For 8 years, she had been awaiting a divorce from her husband, and when she finally obtained official freedom, the love of her life married another woman. Initially, he denied it vehemently, claiming he only loved her and that his involvement with Jacqueline was merely for publicity. But the billionaire was deceitful. In reality, he was already wedded to Jacqueline Kennedy. Maria suffered a nervous breakdown. She withdrew into her home and began taking sedatives. In the depths of her heart, she still hoped that Aristotle would leave Jacqueline because the amount she could spend on purchases irritated him. But nothing like that happened. In Greece, there's an open belief that Onassis's wealth is cursed, that these riches haven't brought happiness to anyone and instead bring misfortune. Even from an entirely objective standpoint, it's hard not to feel unnerved. Just a few years after marrying Jacqueline, tragedy struck when Aristotle's beloved son, Alexander, the primary heir to his father's empire, perished in an aviation accident at the tender age of 25. Astonishingly, it was Jacqueline who suggested that Alexander take control of his father's plane that day. A mere 18 months later, Onassis's first wife, Athena, succumbed to an overdose. Struggling with his health, Onassis collapsed after his son's demise and passed away at 69. All his assets were inherited by his daughter Christina. However, her time would also soon come to an end. In March 1975, Onassis's health deteriorated significantly. Maria couldn't stay with him because his official wife was there. However, when Jackie wasn't around, Artemis, Onassis's sister, informed Maria that she could come. That became their farewell. Aristotle remained unconscious for 5 weeks. Watching the love of her life connected to various devices, the Greek woman whispered that she would never leave him and would love him endlessly. Aristotle Onassis was laid to rest beside his son's tomb on the tiny island of Scorpios. One of the most opulent yachts of its era, belonging to Onassis, was left to decay as there was no one left to maintain it. Maria endured ongoing suffering, engulfed in the anguish of losing her beloved and grappling with loneliness. In her final years, the opera diva sought refuge in illicit substances. On September 16, 1977, at the age of 53, she was discovered in her own bed. Officially, it was reported as a heart attack. In accordance with her final wishes, the singer's ashes were scattered around the Ionian island of Scorpios, where Aristotle had been laid to rest. Ultimately, she vowed to her beloved that she would never part from him,